In a country like India, where the government also has a say in the price of the drug for local supply, they're still managing to sustain their businesses. They're still managing to provide affordable healthcare in this country. And hats off to them. And again, these are family businesses. They could walk away from it any time they want. They can just sell it and walk away, but they haven't done it. You have to be profitable. If I have profit, then I can invest in new technologies and new methods to build a new material, which will be the next generation. Because of the challenges which are going to come. It's the same thing for Apple. Nobody was ready to believe that why do you want a colored font or graphic in a computer? What will you do of it? But it changed the world.
So, Vikram Mahapatra sir, welcome to Pharma now.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, today we are having a great legend who has done chemical engineering, and then he had transferred a lot of roles from sales, marketing, and I think whatnot, I would say. And he has landed up in SaniSure, and in biopharma sector, you are having a lot of experience of around 30 years. So, sir, we would like to know your journey, like since the beginning, how you have rolled out to the SaniSure, what all challenges you have got, and from chemical engineering, how you have got into pharma.
I mean, pharma for me was absolutely, no intentions ever to get into pharma. Never felt sick or anything in my life too much. So yeah, looking back, I would say that my journey was probably, it began in companies and technologies. I was never interested in going and working in a company for one shift and, end my day and come home. I always want to do something new. Always interested in learning what is the latest technologies. Always missed the fact that, people used to always tell me right from my childhood that, hey, India is 40 years behind US or, any other developed country. And I used to hate that. I used to say, why can't, if not equal, at least, bridge the gap, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. And there are great engineers. There's a great history of engineers and engineering institutions. I come from University of Mumbai, which at that time when I passed out was like probably in the top 10 in the world. And and I was always thinking that why are we not able to do this? And when I passed out, I think I did my internship, apprenticeship for 3 months and 6 months at Reliance, and then later on at Polyolefins India, which is now part of Reliance after several years. And I always thought that plastics industry was coming up very aggressively. So many of my people I knew or relatives I knew, they said, hey, plastics is the future. Why don't you go into plastics? And I had that intention. And that's when a job came across to me where they said, we are a filtration company. And I said, what do you really filter? The only filtration I know is probably, tea, channi, which I use every day if I want to make tea. And then came, the revelations that, filtration is probably every aspect of our life, whether it's medical, whether it's biotech, whether it's oil and gas. One of my first projects, I think, which interested me was oil and gas Reliance project, where we sold them a catalyst recovery system, metal filters working at almost about 120 degrees centigrade and recovering nickel palladium catalyst. The cost of the system was 6 crores. They recovered it in 3 months because the catalyst was so expensive. And they're able to recycle it and reuse it. And that's how, I saw that filtration has such a great impact.
So at that time, I think you was working as a service engineer.
Yeah, I was working in technical service. That's how I started my journey. And my job used to be to go and prove the efficacy and performance of my products to the customer side. So I was always at a customer side most of the time with a sample bag of filters and trying different things, failing, again changing, again trying to do something new. So this is how we used to get the solution. Those times we didn't have the mobile, so I was always near a fax machine or a PCO and send it to my guy in UK or US. Hey, I'm having this problem. Can you get back to me? And then tell the PCO guy that I'm staying in this hotel. Moment you get something, just call the reception and I'll come and pick up the fax. So I used to have bunches of faxes in my bags all the time, trying to show to the customers that, hey, this has come from the We still have that. I'm sorry to say this, but we still have that. If you have a foreigner come and tell you something, you believe it absolutely. And the same guy is like, working, struggling, proving to you, and you say, "Ha, dekhte hain." Like, so it's still there. It's still there in our
being
psyche.
from millennial generation, I can't even imagine how the things used to work back then. Because today, without mobile phone, I think you cannot move one step.
I agree with you. I agree with you. It's again, that's how the use of technology. I don't know if your generation ever knew a product called a pager. So the pager was in India for almost about 6 months. I had one. I still have one.
Okay.
A Nokia pager back in my house. I still have it. I've kept it. I have my first mobile phone of Nokia, which is like a brick. You throw it at somebody, he'll die. And it was 26 rupees per minute.
Right.
And my boss used to say, "Aadha minute ke upar nahi." That's all you get to talk.
Correct.
Our things were like, the way we used to write in faxes, short and sweet. So speak like that, very short.
Very crisp and concise.
So very crisp, concise, save the money, and look at it, what you have today. I mean, you couldn't imagine getting access to internet at those times. Didn't have a laptop. So you would have to go to a place where, you have internet and then type everything off and send it to. My boss used to have a fax in his house. So at 9 o'clock, I have to always send him a fax about what I've done and which trial is there and what possibilities of opportunities.
Every day's update.
And he will reply back in 5 minutes, again in a fax. Okay. That's how we used to communicate. Otherwise, you would just end up, somewhere else. We didn't have flights. I mean, expensive flights. A single flight would cost you like 15, 20, 30,000 bucks to go to Bangalore and come back. Now it's like 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 a year back.
It's very convenient.
So a lot of things changed. It helped. And it helped, communication becoming easier. Today with the Teams, you can actually demonstrate your product on a Teams and, show it to the customers. So it changed. Journey was tough. But I would say our customers are very patient. They gave us a lot of opportunities. Again and again and again. In spite of failing, I would still say, I mean, I learned some of the best technologies to demonstrate. I learned at Serum, Biocon, BioE. These are customers, DRL. These are customers who really, really gave us the second, third, fourth, fifth opportunity. Which again, with the advent of more competitors, became less and less. So you probably get one chance to do it, otherwise you're out. So again, technologies have taken a huge change. Like I said, 26 bucks for a 1 minute call to something which is now in few paise. We have had products which were very, very expensive. But again, because they were sold in lesser volumes, the international manufacturers are not able to give you the best pricing. Now when the volumes are going up, then the change comes. Then component sourcing is also a very key part of manufacturing. There are several companies who don't make their own products, or they get the components from others they try to put together. So they're dependent on the cost structure of their suppliers, and hence not able to do justice sometimes. So that is also a big gap in the market. But it will get addressed as we go further.
So I think from the technical service engineer, you have moved to Paul.
I mean, I was in Paul, so I started with technical services. I built the validation labs. Then I built a stainless steel manufacturing, skids manufacturing unit, which is in Pune, in Hinjawadi. It is there even today. But we started with oil and gas, and then we shifted to biopharma there itself. And then we started supplying this system all over Asia. So that's how the journey was. Then moved to marketing and business development, because there were several new technologies. Paul acquired a few companies, and those technologies again had to be demonstrated. But again, like I said, no solution is weight its worth in gold. Because if it's so expensive, nobody's going to buy it. So it has to be cost effective. So like example of single use is that if I go to a polio vaccine manufacturer and say you have to do everything single use, the vaccine cost is so low, it's not justifiable. But if it's an anti-cancer product, it's a monoclonal antibody, and then that's got like maybe about $1,000 an ml, or maybe $10,000 an ml, then single use is the best solution for them, because they save on time and the cost as well.
So at SaniSure, you are basically producing and developing the single use products.
Right.
So can you tell us more about what's the application of the single use products, how these are manufactured, like what the conceptualization you do like while doing the product manufacturing and all stuff.
So I can give you an example of a product which we call as Mix for Sure. So
Okay.
this is like, in a container, a small container, you have a small bottom mounted mixer, and then you have an inlet outlet connection
Okay.
where you can, put in the additives and, make the product, mix the product, homogenize it.
Yeah.
You can adjust the pH and everything. At the end, the product is made, you can take it out by, sucking out the entire product using a peristatic pump.
Right.
Now, this platform, if I look at a stainless steel skid, which, let's say for 50 liters capacity, a stainless steel skid with a bottom mounted mixing and everything, the cost would be roughly around $100,000. What we did was we just made the container so unique and so easy to handle that you don't need a complete skid around it. So you just take a platform mixer,
Okay.
put this on top of that,
Yeah.
and mix it, and you're done.
Oh, amazing.
So it's very, very compact. It's disposable also,
Right.
because there are several things like when you take a 50-liter container, imagine even if at the weight or density of water, if the product is very similar,
Yes.
it's still 50 kgs. And trying to move a bag of 50 kgs and, trying to make sure that, you don't have a powder at one end and product at the other end. All those things are hugely challenging.
Right.
So we just try to solve that very simply. We also try to do a lot of powder mixing. Powder mixing in a bag has been hugely challenging because when you put the powder in, if you can go and stick to the plastic, you can imagine what happens when you put your hand across your TV screen, you'll get all particulates.
Yes.
Because it's natural, it's static. Plastic will catch hold of particulates. Same thing is that my bottle is plastic too, but the way I have designed it, it's a hard container.
Okay.
And then my mixing profile is, right up to the top of the bottle and to the lowest point of the bottle. With a bag, you probably have to shake the bag and stuff like that. You go into certain manufacturing sites,
Right.
you see some guys, why are they pulling and tugging and all that? Because they want to make sure that there's no powder left
Yeah.
and they have a completely homogenized product.
Homogenized mixture.
And then at the end of the cycle, you need to have a bottommost part from where you can draw out everything,
Correct.
either by a sampling method or the actual product.
Okay.
So the other thing which my container does is that you can hook it up with a purification system. Like I can connect a filter to it, I can do a sterile filter and back into the bottle.
Okay.
And again, it's all contained. At the
Yeah.
end, I just clip off and I have my product in that bottle.
Okay.
And I can put it in a freezer for minus 80
Right. Right.
and it can be stored for years together.
Yeah.
All this were separate. Once you do this step, then you go to another stainless steel vessel where you do the next step and so on. And again, imagine trying to clean all these things before you do the next batch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where single use helps, because single use is like less, no water, no cleaning solutions, no steam, no documentation, because each time you're doing it, you have to make sure that you've followed the SOP, everybody signs off on it before the next batch goes in.
Right.
Otherwise, a regulatory guy could come and say, hey, ये proper नहीं था, या ये QA का तुमने sample ही नहीं लिया. This didn't happen, hence the batch is rejected.
Correct.
So those things can be avoided
Yeah.
or controlled to a lot extent. You can control it.
Yeah. So, sir, when we are talking about single-use products, so since childhood we learn 3 R's, like reuse, recycle. But when it comes to single-use product, the name itself suggests that you can use it only once.
You're right.
But in that way, how we can use it or reuse it or recycle, or how it is relatable to building a sustainable environment, like how we can ensure that?
That's a great question. I think it's there foremost in the minds of almost every single-use technology manufacturer or equipment manufacturer today, because that's a question where first comes standardization.
Yes.
If you don't standardize it, you cannot limit the number of components or a type or size of a component. Then comes what kind of material of construction you're using, because everybody is using a different one. People started with glass. Okay, so from glass they moved to stainless steel. From stainless steel it came to plastics. In plastics again we have polypropylene, which is autoclavable and reusable.
Yes.
There's polycarbonate to a certain extent. Like say if you can do a recycle of polypropylene for 20 numbers, PC or polycarbonate probably maybe 5 times or something like that, but still recyclable. Beyond that, what after that 5 cycles and what after the 20 cycles? What do you do with those things?
Right.
How much of that resin in the truest sense can you dispose or recycle?
Yeah.
I'm still against disposal. I'm more to recycle.
Okay.
So SaniSure is made a conscious decision and are working very, very closely to rework on all their projects and products, where we are going back to the supplier of the resin like Eastman Chemical or a few other ones we have in the market. And they are guiding us with the new generation resins by which at the end of the disposal cycle, we should be able to reclaim at least 90%.
Okay.
And that is our focus.
Yeah.
I know it's very expensive for us right now, but I'm sure the industry will recognize that, and we should be able to, get to a break even maybe in the next 5 years or so.
Right.
But you have to take that step.
Yeah.
Because today, I'm not a great fan of electric vehicles. Reason being because I still believe that we are unable to recycle our mobile batteries yet.
Yes.
So I'm always struggling to understand how we are going to do it for these large batteries, which will be with the electric vehicles.
Yeah.
So again, it's a journey which everybody has to take. I would say responsibility.
Correct.
That you should think about the environment. You should think about the future.
Right.
About what your children and what your grandchildren will probably face at that point of time. So it's the onus of everybody in the market today. Not just our customers, but also the manufacturers.
Right. So yeah, I think we have talked pretty good about products, but going back to your journey. So like the way we were discussing, you have done the chemical engineering. Then I think you were also interested into the architecture and the design part.
Yeah.
So how the whole circumstances went, and I think you was preparing for the MDiS as well.
Yes, I did give my MDiS also. And
Yeah.
I was selected in the last 14 out of 2 lakh people.
Oh.
But eventually I had to tell the dean at that point of time that, guy, I'm already in the second year of my chemical engineering, and this was my personal, I would say, benchmark which I wanted to achieve, that, I should be able to do this. But my design for passion still continues. I still continue to try and design the best possible solutions for my customers, engineer the whole thing, make it more cost effective.
Yeah.
Because solutions, like I said, there have been challenges even in filtration. By simple things, by doing the trials, only and only by doing them repeatedly. Because if you just do one trial and you succeed, there may be some things which you have missed in the trial.
Yeah.
So you have to do it a consistent one. You have to see whether your performance is still at least 98% in that level. Then you can say that yes, this product or this technology will be useful for this customer.
Yeah.
And everybody has a different process. It may be the same product, it may be the same vaccine, but everybody has different components, different additives, different processes, different temperatures, or the unit processes flow. It's different.
Yeah.
So you have to again go back to the drawing board each time. It's like one shirt does not fit everybody, so you still have to rework.
Yeah, you have to do it.
So that still drives and feeds my passion of design and development, and that's what I enjoy. Yeah.
I think that's absolutely amazing journey, because we have seen people who are very much into stick to one field or stick to one profession and don't change. Otherwise, you'll be jack of all and master of none. But I think in your case, you have mastered all. Or what do you think?
I wouldn't say, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I wouldn't say I've mastered all. I'm still learning.
Okay.
But it's a great journey. I enjoy every minute of that. So it's like I'm not bored. I just keep enjoying. And even today, many of my customers who are now managing directors in all these companies, because we were engineers together when we were started our journey in this industry. Right. Today they are CEOs and managing directors of their companies, and they still see me on the road with a bag and still coming and talking to them about a new product, and they're saying, how the hell do you do this? And I say, I just love this. I just can't imagine myself behind a desk all the time. And I think there's also something to give back to our country, that we have to bring in some solutions which are in between and which are really, really important for India.
Yeah.
My customers, sometimes I'm amazed that, in a country like India, where the government also has a say in the price of the drug for local supply,
Right.
they're still managing to sustain their businesses. They're still managing to provide affordable healthcare.
Correct.
in this country, and hats off to them. And again, these are family businesses.
Yeah.
They could walk away from it anytime they want. They can just sell it and walk away, but they haven't done it. And they've continued that journey of their fathers and forefathers who thought that we should all have affordable healthcare. I still remember the journey of Shanta Biotech, which eventually got sold to Sanofi, when it launched its hepatitis B vaccine in the market. At that time, GSK, GlaxoSmithKline, Beecham was selling hepatitis B vaccine at 2,500 per dose. Moment Shanta Biotech launched its vaccine, which it launched at 500 rupees, they dropped down to 1250, and in 3 months they were 400. Shanta Biotech went to 250,
Right.
and so on. And there was a time when Shanta Biotech, Mr. Varaprasad Reddy, I still remember, he made it very clear. He said, if the government decides to make this part of the immunization, like polio vaccines and other, if you add hepatitis B, I will sell at 50 rupees. And at that time, GlaxoSmithKline walked off because it was no longer sustainable for them.
Yeah.
And that's how,
That's a really great
it's affordable
achievement for us.
healthcare.
Yeah.
It's affordable healthcare. I mean, India is a spot for global medical tourism. You can see that people come from abroad and get heart, patients, cancer patients getting affordable treatment.
Right.
Nowhere else in the world you'll probably get that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exciting.
Truly. And I think the achievement that we have done, bringing down the cost to that much, and it's really a great achievement for like all of us.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm pretty happy that, I'm in whatever ways of technologies or solutions which I bring to the market, I'm trying hard to contribute to that journey.
Yes.
Where you can say that proudly, hey, I was part of that COVID vaccine. Hey, I was part of that one. And so on. So it's a great journey to be in. I'm enjoying every minute of it.
But the new aspiring generation that are coming into the pharma industry, or rather any industry, once they pass out, they always are hesitant to take the risk. Like they are like, okay, let me choose the one field which is very much popular, I would say, which is having a scope. Like whenever we talk to anybody, okay, isme kitna scope hai.
Right.
So based on that, they choose a field. But what do
Indeed.
you think? What approach the students should follow while they are coming into the industry?
I say do what you like first.
Yeah.
Money everybody will make. Beyond the age of 40, everybody will make money. Because you continue, you persevere, you make mistakes, you learn, you change your path, you correct yourself, and you go ahead.
Right.
Money will come. But if you want to become Elon Musk at the age of 30, it will not happen.
Yeah.
Bill Gates was not that rich at the age of 30. So he evolved his technologies. It's the same thing for Apple. Nobody was ready to believe that why do you want a colored font or graphic in a computer? What will you do of it? But it changed the world. Your DTP, your desktop publishing was one of the best things only an Apple could do. There was nobody else at that time to do that. Everybody else followed it. I mean, I learned CAD and everything, but I was very excited when I used platforms on the Apple computer rather than, a Microsoft one or maybe a Lenovo one or IBM for that matter. So it's pretty unique. Follow what you like and try to think forward that where could this progress to, or where can I make that small value add? Because while everybody remembers Bill Gates, everybody remembers all the top guys in a particular company. Everybody knows that the technicians and the other guys are the real guys who've done the job.
Yes.
If they wouldn't come up with those solutions or challenges to each and every bug which they countered by sitting countless nights, Apple wouldn't be what Apple is today.
Right.
And same is for Microsoft.
True.
Or any other company. So I would still say, I have friends in the industry who, in my time, they said, Vikram, why don't you do an MBA? And I said, how is that going to help me? I do an MBA and then I end up in a bank?
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to see where I've used my engineering expertise and my design liking and go in that industry. And that's what I did. Money will come. There's no way it will stay away from you if you learn to excel in whatever you do. So my suggestion is always that find the industry which you would love to do. Use your education in that industry to leverage to a best possible outcome.
Right.
And that's the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody, I still remember a guy in my office in Pharma, he used to make the best tea. Probably didn't have tea in many other offices in my earlier companies, but I used to wait for that guy's tea, to come. At 10 o'clock it would come, and maybe in the afternoon at 3 o'clock it would come. But I used to wait for that because, when I left Kolpamar, I actually appreciated the gentleman's name is Mr. Govind. He was not even an employee of Kolpamar, he was with the third party who used to give us the office services. And I still remember I told him that, the only thing which I'm probably going to miss leaving Kolpamar is probably your tea.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
But yes, that's how these people will have contributions in your life. They will inspire you. There are small contributors or small things which people do, like your mother waking you up on time to go to a particular exam, or your father making sure that you have all the geometry instruments and everything, and that box is there with you so that you can go and give that exam. Or sitting with you in the night just with a cup of tea and encouraging you to go and give that tough one which you have tomorrow. These are all contributions, and that's how I also feel that we should make small contributions to our people around us, encourage them, motivate them. Customers motivate you. You can also motivate customers in return. You can be their advisor and be honest about it. I mean, in sales, I know most of the guys are pressurized with numbers, but I always say you will get caught. Okay, so if you just made a sale just for selling and making a number, you will get caught, and then you lose your credibility. And if your credibility is gone, it's gone. So it's better to be a friend and advisor. You may get the business today, may not, but you will certainly get it tomorrow. That's for sure. Because customers are smart; they see the value in the long run.
True. I think beautifully said. Like it matters how well you are doing things rather than how much you are doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is it like even if it is a small thing, but the excellence you bring to that thing is very much important.
And you're liking, if you like something, then it shows. It shows in each and every action which you do. If you don't like something, even a third guy can say, he's just doing it for doing it. And it's not really helping him. Right? So that's how it. And sometimes, you are. I would say it's not righteous, or it's not. I'm not preaching, but I would say you should always contribute something back to to all the people who have helped you be where you are today. So it goes back to country a lot. I feel that we should always contribute something back to our country before you leave. That's something at least we can. Proudly before you die, you feel, hey, I've done that. So it's okay. So it's fine.
I think that's very much important.
Very important.
It's for you actually. When you contribute, it brings happiness to you.
Happiness to you. Yes, you're right.
Right. So, sir, coming back to you have been into the service. You worked as a service engineer. Then you was a chemical engineer. Then you worked as a sales and marketing. Then you have done a lot of things in technology aspect. But now you are very much focused on the sales and marketing stuff. So how do you think that all these things has contributed to what you are doing currently, and how the sales and marketing thing is different for the pharma industry?
Again, with sales and marketing, I wouldn't say it's different for different people who come and sell. Like for me, it's more of a technology product which I want to sell and a solution which I want to give to an existing problem. There are several regular things, like in a packaging industry, if you see the types of machineries, the way the product gets filled, whether it's in a glass vial or it's in a tablet form or everything. There are several things which are pretty common. They don't change. Those technologies have not changed or been different in all these years. So many times these are like capital products, and customers just take a decision on the cost. Again, it's not wrong. Every customer wants to get the best out of what they spend. I still feel that when you are selling technology, it has to perform. If it doesn't perform, you shouldn't expect your customer to say, okay, you're my friend and I should give you an order. It doesn't happen that way. It should help them. It should contribute, and that's why we call it as a concept of monetizing your product or the result of your product. But how do you show that, by spending this much amount of money and investing in this technology, this is the payback you're going to get in the next 1 year?
The ROI is very important.
ROI is pretty important.
Yes.
And it's getting lesser and lesser. Earlier we used to talk about 5 years, now then it became 3 years, now we are even talking about 1 year in certain cases.
Yes.
So it all depends on what you're selling.
Right.
But yes, the journey has been that, from a chemical engineer or whatever I was, whether I was technical service, business development, sales, marketing, only and only succeed when you bring a solution to the customer. And it has to be cost effective.
Correct.
It can't be just, some expensive piece of thing and not affordable.
Yeah. So, sir, I would like to emphasize on the solution part when you talk about you actually provide the products to customers. But
Right.
when you say bringing a solution to the customer, what do you mean by that? Can you just elaborate more?
So like the mixing platform which we have brought. So we not only just make the product inside it, you can stabilize your product inside it,
Yeah.
you can transfer it somewhere else, and then you can also store it. So it's like multiple things which you can do, because sometimes your customer will make a product in a particular vessel, stainless steel vessel, then transfer it to probably a glass or plastic vessel, and then that gets into a third one, and then it gets stored.
Yes.
I'm trying to do that in a one product itself. So in solutions, like I said, it's always been the same. I may sound very repetitive when I say this, that it has to be cost effective.
Yes.
Because everything is finally boiling down to a calculation of a ROI. That, why would a company really invest its time, effort,
Correct.
and energy in a technology, and then after maybe 2 years learn that it's not working?
Yeah.
So it has to be demonstrated. So whenever it's a technology product, the sale happens only and only by a good demonstration and a repeated performance of that product. So that's how, I say that, you try to make multiple unit processes into a single assembly or a single technology. That is what you reduce the number of steps.
Right.
What you would do in a normal system, and you bring it to just one, saves money anyway.
Correct.
So and that's how you do it. So solutions are more important than just products.
Yes.
Products are several. In single use, if you go, there are bag manufacturers, like 5 or 7 bag manufacturers, even local manufacturers. But why is everybody not successful? Why are only a few companies which are able to make great solutions for freezing and thawing technologies?
Yes.
Maybe just 1 or 2 probably who are performing. Because once you do the product, you imagine storing a product for 2 years, and your customer was probably, you're shipping it 7 seas across, and he opens after 2 years and he finds the product is not good.
Yeah.
So imagine that how critical your technology has to be, that it has to survive that entire journey and the storage at their place. And then after 2 years, it should be exactly the way they got it.
Yes.
So that's a huge ask.
Yeah.
I always say to people that, when you look at a bag, it's like an ice cube. Once it's frozen at minus 60, minus 80, it's like a cube of ice. It falls, it shatters.
Yeah.
So you can't recover it back.
Yeah.
So that's how important, where when you make containers or your designs, and it's very expensive to ship a stainless steel vessel all the way and back.
Yes.
And that's why plastics came in, because they were lighter, they were portable. You could probably have 10 bags of 10 liters and ship 100 liters that way in a very compact method, rather than trying to ship 100 liters in a stainless steel vessel. So those are things which slowly changed everything. There are still gaps, and a lot of companies are working in terms of, I would say, in filtration. My biggest thing was, in Paul, I eventually learned that we became a material science company, because one of my bosses told me that, he said, what do we make? So I said, filters. He said, wrong. So what do we make? I said, we make new materials. Wrong. I said, then what do we make? So I said, I don't know the answer. He said, we make money.
Oh.
You have to be profitable.
Right.
If I have profit, then I can invest in new technologies and new methods to build a new material,
Correct.
which will be the next generation,
Yes.
because of the challenges which are going to come. There's a company, many people have heard about the company called Dow. There's a company called DuPont. They are now merged. They are called as Dow DuPont. They are probably the top 3 companies in the world. They have done research of materials which will come in use probably even 200 years down the line. But they've done this research, and these materials and everything is ready. So moment the challenge arrives, it's the same thing for your COVID vaccine.
Right.
BioNTech had done all that viral research and everything. Hence, when the virus hit the market, they already had a solution.
Correct.
The only thing for them was how do you scale up.
Yeah.
That's where companies like Oxford, AstraZeneca and all these, they all tied up, and then the volumes began and the scale up happened.
Yeah.
And then we had the COVID vaccine. But imagine if we didn't have that, how much years and how many lives would be lost because of that.
And I think that was a really important thing, that they were having the platform already ready.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's why the generation of the vaccine had got very easy, and we could have done it in 12 months of time.
True.
So, sir, as you have said, when you are talking about product, you talk about the solution that you're giving. And I completely understand, when you talk about the features of product, customer won't be able to relate to it.
Most of the times, yes.
Time when you talk about their problems.
Exactly.
And you are going to talk about how your product is going to solve the problem.
True.
And that's where you're giving the solution.
True.
And as a salesperson and as a marketer, I think this is a very good or a very important aspect that we all should focus on. So coming back to the marketing aspect of the products, so what do you think, what all innovations can be done when we do the marketing of the products?
One of the first thing is that the way you put it to the customer, it's a very simplified method. And like I said, a demonstration.
Yeah.
Because you have to put the technology, your word and credibility behind that technology. So for me, I mean, I built that credibility over the years, where there are several customers who say, "यार विक्रम को पूछते हैं, let's ask him whether उसको पता है कि कौन क्या कर रहा है, या internationally Amgen क्या कर रहा है, या कोई Lonza क्या कर रहा है." Maybe we'll probably find a way for that. I've always said to people that when you're doing a marketing, it's again something which should be true. It shouldn't be just buzzwords.
Right.
And I always say features and benefits. That okay, I have this feature, but what's the benefit to the customer?
Yes.
And that's how you get them on your side. And of course, demonstration again.
Yeah.
And again, I always say I've had F&B features and benefits. F&B is like food and beverage.
Okay.
I said it should be over a nice informal atmosphere.
Yeah.
In US, we call it lunch and learn.
Yes.
Where we actually sponsor the lunch for people to come to during lunchtime to that table or that space where we bring our product also, and then over that food and beverage we talk about our features and benefits. So that's how it's a very informal way of doing it, but that's probably the best time, because all our production and manufacturing guys are always busy because they are their deadlines of production and getting the product to the market.
Correct.
So sometimes you need to take them away from that pressure for them to have that relaxed feeling and understand that.
Yes.
So demonstration, of course, is the best.
It's
You just
the best.
demo that and leave it.
Right. So, sir, these are the few of the mediums when you actually interact with the customer. But there is always a brand recall value. There is always a brand building, which plays an important role in marketing aspect.
It does.
So, when it comes to digital platform or digital marketing, for that matter, so what do you think how the company should position themselves, or if there is a startup or if it's a very good big company, so what do you think the digital presence plays a role in marketing?
Well, I think digital presence has changed quite a lot, because what you would probably wait for or probably look for on a particular platform, like say TV.
Yeah.
You would wait for that particular serial or that particular episode, or okay, what's next, and it would probably be in the next week or probably something else. But today it's like every day you have a new one and stuff like that. So consumption, access to that information because of the ease of internet availabilities, everything is on your phone now or maybe on your tab.
Correct.
So it's much more easier. But it is also, challenge remains the same, whether it's a printed media, whether it's a TV, or whether it's maybe a mobile. You still have quality of content which matters. I would probably log into BBC every morning. Why? Because I trust the source, or maybe Reuters. If I want to know the truth about a news or an occurrence, I go to Reuters. Because even when they were a newspaper or they were a radio channel, and today TV and other media, they are still there because their ethics are the same, their values are the same, they have not changed.
Right.
And that is why the brand recall is there. So if you change that, then you will people will forget you.
Right.
And with digital thing, again, it's not about what is new, it's what about relevant.
Correct.
It has to be relevant to the audience, and then, you'll get their attention.
Yes. And I think well said, like, we also buy iPhone. People buy iPhone not just because they like the product, but they believe in that brand.
Right.
It's how you relate to the brand, it's how you relate to that product, and that's why the buying cycle and like all the customer journey happens, I
Right.
think. So, sir, I think, we have covered a good kind of inspirational thoughts from you.
Thank you.
So, moving forward, if we like all the audience that are, are taking the insights from this talk, what would be the key, one key message that you want to give to all the aspiring pharma leaders and those are already the leaders but want to move to the higher position? So, what would be that one key message?
I would still say be focused, be relevant, and be honest.
Yeah.
And these three things are very important, whatever you do, and whichever level in the industry and wherever you are.
Yeah.
It helps. These three are the only things which will get you next.
Right.
There will be always guys like, flash in the pans, like I say, who will come and say, oh, we can do this, we can do that. But it still needs, if the message doesn't go down to the, the lowest person in the organization, it doesn't work. So again, we talk about many leadership styles, and everyone has their own style. Whether it's an Elon Musk or maybe Bill Gates or maybe Warren Buffett or anybody else. Yeah. Always good to have the idols, but always take what's the best out of all these guys and try to make your own mix, and then use that.
Yeah. And having your own identity.
Having your own thing, and which you believe from your heart that this is something which I really, really feel about, and then that's how you do it. Yeah. And it will help. It does help. And have patience. Believe me, after 40, everybody has money. They do.
Yeah.
They do.
I think that's really wonderful talking to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.